Hello, everyone, and welcome to Four Lads Instant Match Reaction this Sunday afternoon. It was Hearts 1, Rangers 3 at Tynecastle. We're going to get into all of it. Delighted to have won, relieved to have won, pleased to have won. And it was a strange one because there's so much to dissect. I'm not sure that we were actually great in spells, yes. Defensively, at times, gave away some horrendous chances. Jack Butland, arguably man of the match. But look, most important thing is 3 points, Kenny. And we really needed it today by any means possible.
And we got it by any means possible. Look, that was a strange game of football. It was like watching a game of FIFA on PlayStation, where you get that day where nothing, that match that nothing goes right for you for Hearts. Missing sitters in front of goal, keeper plays really well, and listen, the 2 own goals kind of tells you all we need to know about our performance. I thought I just thought we were really poor, Stevie. I've got to be honest. That's a win's a win, and listen, we're far too easy to play against, and yeah, we've won the game, but I just feel a bit about the whole thing. To be honest, I'm really quite poor on the day, I thought.
Derek, is that fair? Does it cover up? Is it putting a plaster on a broken leg kind of thing? 3 points is ultimately all that matters.
To be fair, I think we've had a few performances this season where you see it's just papering over cracks. The day, again, biggest issue for me is there's a clear lack of identity in terms of what we actually try to do in terms of style of play for me. We heard a lot when Coleman first came in that it was going to be about pace and power, yet we have a team that's playing at a snail's pace most weeks, so it doesn't quite match up with what we were told to expect, and I just don't see what we try to do enough. You can, as has been discussed a lot across various platforms, there's no clear style of play, and I think in days like today, where you're looking for something to happen, you're always just relying on individuals.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And bits, team selection, boys, surprising. Amazed to see Tom Lawrence in there. Happy to see Nsiala at the back. I do rate him a lot. We'll talk about him. But in the first 30 minutes, Kenny, we were 4 good Jack Butland saves away from being behind. He had 3 from the boy Kabungo up front, 1 from Shankland, which he tipped over. Rangers just seem to be really easy to play against. The midfield just gets bypassed far too easy for me at times. Said that on social media. And after 30 minutes, I felt we were tentative, probably naturally after last week. We started well with the ball, and then after 2 minutes, the shooter was just offside. But I just thought that we were tentative is probably the word I would use, and it was allowing Hearts, like the boy Kabungo up front, just so much space and time, and he must have had at least half dozen really good chances today, and he didn't take one of them.
Well, look, the first half hour, I think, I kind of expected us to be nervous after last week. I think a lot of pressure on those players today, but we're just so easy to play against, Stevie. It's far too open in the midfield. We've discussed this over and over again this season. Like, how many times are we going to watch this number 10 position just be pretty much non-existent for us? I think Tom Lawrence had a couple of touches in the first half hour, and that was it. So, we're clearly lacking bodies in there. I think we're asking Diamandi and Nico Raskin to do far too much work in the midfield. I thought they were getting overran because, as I say, this number 10 position for me is a concern because it doesn't matter who we play in there. They're struggling, whether it's by Rami or Haji or the likes of today, Tom Lawrence. It really doesn't matter. But, the only one that I feel has done really well in that position is young Danilo. And he seems to bring the best out of Igaman when he plays there. Other than that, I've got a concern about that position. But listen, Jack Butland had a fantastic game, and if it wasn't for him, we are certainly getting in at half-time behind. And look, again, it's one of those things, Stevie, that I'm in danger of repeating myself in terms of how open do you want to be? How easy can you make Rangers to play? And listen, Hearts are a decent side. They're in a decent run of form at this minute in time. But I'll tell you what, I haven't seen the stats yet, but I'd like to see the stats for shots at goal, shots on target, how many sitters they've missed over the piece. It is a concern, but that is my number one concern. And kind of epitomised in the first half hour, Stevie, that, you know, when you're playing with that number 10, it seems to be that we are just a man short in the middle of the pitch, and we are far too easy to play against.
Yeah, the man short in the middle of the pitch is certainly a conundrum, but Yanis Hadji today had one of those games where he worked really hard, Derek, but he comes up with the first goal. It's well a set piece that works its way back to him on the left, and he puts in a really good cross. Tom Lawrence had one similar right at the start of the game where Craig Gordon pushed it out, but this time he pushed it right on to Jamie McCart, who put in a sterling afternoon for Rangers with the first of his 2 goals.
To be fair, I think the issue you've got is we don't really play with any out and out wingers either. So it's really, you're playing with 3 10s essentially, and they're all moments players. There's none of them that really take the game by the scruff. Czerny's about the only one that will drive on and tends to make something happen at some point in a game. Hadji chips in with his numbers. Lawrence, for me, I'm probably in a small minority. I actually quite like Tom Lawrence, so I was happy to see him back in today. Again, I think he's another player that he comes up with moments, whether it be goals or assists. He's always involved. It's just, can we find something a bit different? I think that's recruitment-wise this summer. I think that's what they've really got to look at is, can we get and find players that are going to change the profile of player we have? If we're going to stick with a manager, we're going to stick with a system, then you need to find players that suit that system rather than continuing to play in a way that doesn't really match up to what you've got.
1-0 at half time. We take that. We've had plenty of warnings. Hearts start fast, and it's 1 each straight away. A corner kick, and we're marking zonally. I think you can see that there's 2 zonal lines, which means that the defenders around the penalty box, penalty spot rather, are free. They get the run on, and by the time Suter and Inciala go to challenge, it's too late. Kenny, a good header, really poor setup by Rangers. That's defensively really bad.
Well, we've watched it all season, Stevie. The amount of times we are losing goals from set pieces is just a concern. Listen, I'll be fair to Hearts there. It's a cracking ball in, and it's a fantastic header. Keeper's got no chance there. But again, I think Suter's just slightly on his heels. But it's no criticism of him because it is a zonal system that they're using. But listen, if we're being honest, the goal had been coming from the get-go, and to find ourselves level again was of no great surprise. But yeah, they're very good at set pieces, and we're not very good at defending them, Stevie. So no great surprise. But listen, I'll concentrate on the reaction thereafter and take the positives off of that, because I kind of, and I don't want to be that guy, but I kind of half expected the worst when they equalised. I just wasn't sure how we were going to react to it. So fair play to them for getting back on the saddle and getting on with it again.
Derek, give us a tactical viewpoint defensively from that goal that we conceded.
To be fair, mate, in terms of our setup at corners, it's quite a commonly used setup now. You have your 3 zones around about the penalty spot, and then you go man for man thereafter. And I think your biggest issue is we don't have many that are actually capable of being physically dominant against a man, and it leads to gaps there within the zones in terms of them themselves. That just purely comes down to delivery of ball, and you see now as well where a lot of teams, I think actually for the Man United game, teams seem to have picked up on loading us at the back and then come in front, and it works because we've not got people who actually go with their runners too well. So I would I would say that it's another area where a fair amount of work needs done, but again, I think it comes down to profile of player and having to actually look at what we're recruiting and who we're using in there a lot of the times, because I think NCR gets a wee bit of the blame as well for it, being caught under the ball. But that's the joys when you're effectively marking an area, you're not marking a man, so you can be caught under it. I thought NCR was excellent today. I thought, again, it's probably 5 or 6 games that he's been in, and I don't see the boy doing too wrong at all. But that was unfortunately just one of his errors today.
Well, we do react well, Kenny, as you said. Tierney has an effort just from a cut back. I think it's possibly making its way to Eagleman, and I think, again, it's McCart who plays it out. Tierney whips one just wide, and within a minute, Hearts are pressurising. Inciala does really well to clear. They're moaning about a foul. Rangers then break. It's really good composure by Diamandi in the middle. He gets it out to Tav on the right. It works its way in, and Eagleman has a shot, and it breaks to Tierney, who finishes well. And there's the thing with Tierney. A moment's player, as Derek says, he can be really frustrating. I thought at times in the first half he was hesitant and a bit wasteful, but then the goal comes, and it's perfectly timed for Rangers at that moment in time, because very quickly, Kenny, they go and get a third. Hadji's through ball, it's looked over, and within probably the space of 7-8 minutes, Rangers go from 1 each to 3-1, and exactly what you would want, and that was it done.
Yeah, it was done, and it took the heart out of Hearts, so to speak. But look, it's a fine goal. The second goal, he takes it very well, bangs it into the ground, makes it almost impossible for Craig Gordon to get anywhere near it. And as you say, the good work for Dessers for the third goal. And unfortunate for the boy McCart. It's unusual to see anybody get 2 own goals in one game, but tough. And look, as you say, it's one of those things, Stevie, that, you know, as I've just said to you, that I was a bit concerned when it went to 1 each, and I thought our reaction was pretty decent. As I say, my concern was how easy Hearts were playing through us. But in the last half hour, again, I thought we were playing through them quite quickly and quite easily as well. So, you know, we've taken the chance with Tierney, and as I say, the third goal kind of kills the game off a little bit. But they've still got chances there after Hearts. They've got plenty. But all you can do is turn around and say, look, it's been a weird game of football to watch. And to find ourselves 3-1 up there was, well, put a smile on my face, so a bit of a smirk more than a smile. But yeah, you know, job done there at that point, I think.
Interesting text messages from Joshua Barry of Rangers Review. He thinks that today's game will beat last season at Ross County as the highest XG conceded by Rangers in 6 seasons, which shows you the chances that Hearts had. Even in the last couple of minutes, I think the boy Wilson and the big defender had efforts that were really clear, which they wasted. We've titled this Capital Theft, or Theft in the Capital, and regardless, Derek, we will take it as 3 points at this stage. There's not a lot left to play for except trying to win games. I don't think we're fooled by this result today or the 3 points. It suddenly doesn't make anything better. Was the performance massively better than anything else we've seen? I'm not sure it was. I'm sure that today possibly we got the luck that we haven't got other times, but Rangers have won this game by 3-1 and will certainly take those 3 points gratefully.
Aye, absolutely, mate. When you're in our position, in terms of performance, then you'll take, especially away from home, you'll take a result like that, and it is a smash and grab number. Again, I think the biggest issue we've got is we need to start seeing performances come in at some point, because there's only so long, especially now they're in their favourite period in terms of Rangers of the last 3 or 4 years. This is the time the pressure's off, just go and play. So if we can't see performances in that moment, then that is very concerning for me.
Hey, Derek, before we finish, Kenny, will come to you now as well. Derek, man of match today, please.
Because he's turned up for a change, I'll go with Jack Butland.
Kenny?
I'll pick the young lad Enciala. He's really impressing me, and I thought he certainly outfield. He was by far the best player for us on the day. But yeah, smash and grab as it is, I'll take it. And yeah, my concerns just carry on with this number 10 role, Stevie. I just don't see it working. This shape. It hasn't worked all season.
My match for me today was Jack Butland. Some excellent saves. I am not fooled by today's result. I think the performance is very clear. So many holes in it, so many question marks, but delighted to have just won the game. And given we've, what we've produced, I'll take that all day long. We will further analyse this and go through this on the Monday flagship, folks. Andrew will be back. Please join us then. We'll let Derek get back to Hamburg, which he's watching gleefully at the moment. I think they're getting beat 1-0 as well, which is not great.
It's one each now.
Oh, there we go. Good.
10 men though.
Oh, 10 men and one each. Nice. This fit's not bad enough watching Rangers. Kenny, Derek, thanks for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow night on the Monday Night Podcast, folks. Enjoy the 3 points. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Well done, Rangers. We'll take it anyway. Theft in the capital, that's for sure.
Four Lads podcast is sponsored by Rhino Express, Clyde Joinery, Athol Industrial Solutions Limited, and CSD Air Conditioning, along with Art of Gold. Thank you for listening or watching the podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show.